Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic novels of all time, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. And we're going to tackle its central, timeless question. Can a really, really bad first impression ever, somehow, lead to true love? Let's find out.
Ah, yes. This opening line is probably one of the most famous in all of literature, and it is just dripping with Jane Austen's classic wit. I mean, it perfectly sets the scene, right? We're thrown right into this high-stakes world of the 19th century marriage market. It's all about money, social status, and yeah, maybe a little bit of love, all tangled up. But for the main family of our story, the Bennets, this isn't just a game. Oh no. The problem is way, way more urgent than just finding a decent husband.
And here's the kicker. It all comes down to this one little legal term, entailment. So what does that mean? Well, for the Bennet family, it's a huge problem. See, their entire estate, their home, their money, it's all entailed. This means when Mr. Bennet dies, none of it, not a single penny, can go to his 5 daughters. Instead, the whole shebang goes to some distant male cousin they barely know. So for the Bennet girls, the reality is pretty grim. They either marry a man with money or they're going to be left completely destitute. The pressure is absolutely immense.
Okay. So with that pressure cooker of a situation as our backdrop, 2 of the most famous characters in literature are about to walk into a local ballroom. And trust me, their first meeting is what sparks the fire for the entire story. This is it, folks, the moment Pride meets Prejudice.
So, let's meet our main players. First up, we've got Elizabeth Bennet. She's whip smart, she's funny, she's fiercely independent, and she is not afraid to speak her mind. And then, in walks Mr. Darcy. He's ridiculously wealthy, super handsome, but he's also kind of reserved and comes off as, well, incredibly proud and arrogant. You can just feel the sparks, and not necessarily the good kind, about to fly between these two. Can't you? And yikes, this is it, the insult that really kicks everything off. So someone suggests Darcy should ask Elizabeth to dance, and this is what he says. Just dismisses her, out loud. And the worst part? She's standing right there and hears every single word. Ouch. That one single arrogant comment, it completely cements her prejudice against him. In Elizabeth's mind, the jury is in, the verdict is guilty, case closed. Darcy is a horrible, proud, awful man.
Oh, but her case against him doesn't stop there. It just keeps getting worse. First, she finds out that Darcy is the one who convinced his good friend, Mr. Bingley, to just up and leave town, breaking her dear sister Jane's heart in the process. Then, she meets this super charming soldier, Mr. Wickham, who spins this tragic tale about how Darcy totally cheated him out of a fortune that was rightfully his. So, from where Elizabeth is standing, the evidence is just piling up. This Darcy guy isn't just rude, he's an actual villain.
All right, hold on to your hats because this brings us to the absolute turning point of the novel. I'm talking about the explosive moment where everything Elizabeth thinks she knows is about to be completely shattered.
So get this. Despite everything, Darcy has somehow fallen head over heels in love with Elizabeth. But his proposal? Oh boy, it is an absolute train wreck. He basically tells her, "I love you against my better judgment." He goes on and on about how he's fighting his feelings because her family is so embarrassing and their social status is so beneath him. Can you believe it? He's insulting her and her entire family while asking her to marry him? So yeah, of course, she furiously rejects him, and she lets him have it, throwing every single accusation she has right in his face.
But it's not over. The very next day, Darcy finds her and hands her a letter, and this letter changes everything. In it, he finally explains himself. First, about Jane and Bingley. He admits, yes, he did separate them. But he says he only did it because he honestly thought Jane wasn't really that into his friend, and he didn't want to see Bingley get hurt. Okay, and then comes the real bombshell, the truth about Wickham. It turns out Wickham is a complete liar and a scoundrel who blew through his own inheritance and then tried to run off with Darcy's own 15-year-old sister to get his hands on her money.
As Elizabeth reads this, you can just imagine her world tilting on its axis. Suddenly, she's forced to look in the mirror and confront her own role in all of this. She realizes that she was so proud of being a good judge of character, that she was completely blinded by her own prejudice. It's this incredibly powerful moment of clarity. She gets it. Her own pride was just as big a problem as his was.
So, with this shocking new information out in the open, both of them start to change. It's not loud or dramatic, but it's a real journey of transformation. And it all starts with how Elizabeth begins to see Mr. Darcy in a whole new light.
Now, Elizabeth's change of heart doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. First, you have the letter, right? That plants the first tiny seed of doubt. Then, a little while later, she ends up visiting his massive estate, Pemberley, and she hears from his staff how kind and generous he is. She's seeing a totally different side of him. But the real clincher, the thing that completely flips her opinion, is when she discovers what he did in secret to save her entire family from ruin.
So here's what went down. Elizabeth's wild youngest sister, Lydia, actually runs off with that snake, Wickham. This was a huge scandal back then. I mean, it would have destroyed the entire family's reputation for good. But Darcy, quietly and behind the scenes, fueled by his love for Elizabeth, finds them. He pays off all of Wickham's enormous debts and basically forces him to marry Lydia to make it legitimate. He single-handedly saves the Bennet family from complete social disaster, and he never intended for anyone, especially Elizabeth, to find out.
That one incredible, selfless act says everything about Darcy's true character, and it's what finally opens the door for the story to have its incredibly satisfying ending. I mean, just look at the difference between his two proposals. It's like night and day. The first time, you've got this arrogant guy practically talking down to someone he sees as his social inferior. But the second time, he's a totally different person. All that pride is gone, replaced with humility and genuine respect. And Elizabeth, well, she's shed her prejudice too. She can finally see him clearly. They're not a superior and an inferior anymore. They're equals. They get each other.
And that's really why this story is still so popular, more than 200 years later. It's so much more than just a love story, isn't it? It's this incredible lesson about the dangers of first impressions and about how important it is to be self-aware and willing to grow. It reminds us that people can change and that real love, real connection, is about looking past all the pride and the social nonsense to see who a person truly is.
So, the book kind of leaves us with a challenge, doesn't it? In today's world of instant snap judgments and carefully curated social media profiles, this lesson feels more important than ever. It makes you think. What personal pride or prejudice might be blinding you right now? What walls have you built up? And what incredible things might you discover if you just dared to look past them? Something to think about.